Thank you for joining me here today. If this video's found you, then there might be a message in it for you. I've got two new decks out with me today. Sarah, Georgie, you're absolutely amazing. Let's find out what messages are coming out for you today. These two new decks are incredibly interesting, and they're pretty hard hitters as well. They like saying things very bluntly, so I'm curious what's going to come out today. What is it that we need to hear today, please? What do we need to know? What do we need to talk about? Well, it seems like building and connection are the first two cards. Number 44 and number 40. Will you behave? And fours carry with it a lot of energy of stability, productivity, hard work, and it couldn't be more fitting considering we've got the building card here. With the combination of those two, what is it that you're building? Now, if you're not 100% sure what it is that you want to build, there is an opportunity coming. But with our second card, connection, we're talking about other people. We're talking about the experiences that we gain when working with other people, being around them and sharing those ideas. What is going on? But also there's another message coming through with these. It's this card here. Now this card is about connection, but it also says down here the biome, the environment. What is around you currently? Is that actually working with you to help you build what it is that you want to bring in? Does there need to be a new connection? Does that need to be in a new environment? Because our environment is incredibly important. It's the energy that we sit in. It's the energy that we put ourselves into. And if that energy isn't quite right, how can you have what you need in order to build and develop and grow? There's another card in here. What else do we need to know about this? About the energy, about the environment, about what we're building. Motion. So not only are we talking about energy here, not only are we talking about the environment, we're talking about actually moving, encouraging this movement, building, taking steps forward. And again, maybe that environment might not be ideal for that. Can you move where you currently are? Do you feel like you can do the things that you want to do? Especially if it's a key stage in what it is that you're building. Does the environment allow that? Does it allow for that kind of movement, that kind of progress? And I've just clocked as well that this card is number 22. Not only does that add up to another 4, but also we're talking about 2s. Stability, harmony, balance. And it's that balance that leads me back to this, that environment. I know I've talked about it a lot during this reading, but I just feel that your environment has a massive part to play in moving yourself forward. That thing that we're building. With the word atoms down here, let's break it down into the tiniest of pieces, because I do feel that it's quite easy to get overwhelmed. And if we think too far down the line, we got this step and that step, then I've got to do this, then I've got to do this mammoth task, and then how do I even do that? Stop. Break it down into the tiniest steps that you can. What does that first little step look like to you? Does it encourage motion? Does it get you moving? And does your environment allow you to make that change, to do that thing? Because what it is that you're building is important. So get in touch with how that feels. Imagine you building what it is that's coming through with this. And again, if you're not too sure what that is, I feel like we might do in the days to come. Let those ideas flow and just see what comes through. So, connection, motion, and building. Let's find out a bit more. Tell you what, I absolutely adore this Prism Oracle. It's a very, very simple deck, but the messages that come through carry so much weight. Now, I do just want to note that we've got fear on the bottom of the deck there. This fear that we're talking about, you can't let it stop you. And I know that we might be getting a little bit overwhelmed. And I talked about breaking that down into tiny steps. Fear is definitely there, but it's not there to stop you. It's there to keep you alert It's there to keep you moving forward. If you are faced with fear, don't stop. Take that tiny little step that we talked about. Move through it anyway. Because if you want to wait until you've lost all of that fear, we might be waiting a while. We're going to have to move through it. Trust yourself. You'll be surprised what you're capable of. What else do we need to know, please, today? Sweetness. Now, I'm actually really glad that this card came out, because we've been talking a lot about energy and fear and moving through stuff. And I'm glad this card come out to show us the other side of that. That's sweetness. There is going to be a lot of good in your journey, in the things that we move through. And it's really important that we see that goodness. We see the light, so that when we do face the dark, we're reminded of what is also present. That light. And I can't help but feel a draw to the environment that we were talking about. That connection. Maybe within this environment, we need to implement a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of that good energy, the things we enjoy, the things that make us happy. Maybe that will help the energy in that environment and encourage you to build, to move forward, to have that motion. So when I say the word sweetness and implementing more happiness, what does that look like to you? Can I have something on this motion card, please? Well, I didn't even have time to shuffle. Growth. What a perfect card to get paired with this one. And it reminds us that in order to move forward, that is a step in that growth. And that actually, if we do want to have this growth and this development and this movement, we got to take a step forward. We got to encourage ourselves. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, but in this case, we got to be our own biggest supporter. We got to know that the challenges that we face, whether it's the fear that we move through or the environment that we change, it is all for this growth. And I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that. How much you've already shown this. You've grown and developed. You've been through a hell of a lot, and that shows. And if I'm honest, I think that's the only reason why this opportunity's here. So just know that you have grown a lot, and the growth will carry on. But don't be fearful of that. Use that. See it as something sweet, the good amongst the bad, and trust yourself with those little steps. Break them down into tiny atom-sized pieces. Take one thing at a time and be patient. Thank you for joining me for this reading today. Thank you for being so open and for spending this time together. Have an incredible rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.